Hello, my friends. Amber has uploaded her Let's Talk, and for somebody who claims to not be involved with the drama or not care about the hate and acts like she's just above it all, she certainly plays the game. You know, her title is In a Situationship and the Real Reason People Are Obsessed with Me. That is obviously intended as sort of rage bait or to get the people that don't like her to click. So she can say all she wants, she's not involved with the drama or whatever, but she's playing the game, you know, and she always has. And that's why she uses the most like provocative screenshots she can find in each video, whether it be taking a giant bite of food or her full body shot in a weird angle where it makes her look as big as possible. She does that on her own videos because she knows what gets clicks, you know. So let's just see what delusional ramblings we're gonna run into today on Let's Talk. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not gonna lie.
Hello, welcome to another Let's Talk video. So I'm sure you guys are expecting a what I ate today / weigh-in. I haven't had time to do that. The last few days have been super busy for me. I wasn't even able to live stream. I am rescheduling that live stream for Sunday, so my weekly live stream is still happening.
So first of all, imagine being too busy to film a weigh-in or film a what I ate today. I think by busy, she means lazy. I've been too lazy to do that, you know. She's not doing anything. Of course, remember, she said she had bad news, and that's why she had to move everything around. So we'll see if she talks about that bad news.
I'm just now getting back to my normal routine, and I'm able to film this video, get back to vlogging, because I haven't even been vlogging for my vlog for Monday. So let's just get right into it with Sippin' Community. Could you explain why, if you weighed in at...
She's even getting too lazy to put the little title cards before her segments.
Could you explain why, if you weighed in at 5:46 on May 19th, did you upload a vlog on May 21st saying you weighed in at 5:16? I talked about this in a whole video already, but my scale here at home was broke, and I did not know till I went to the doctor and it weighed me there. And in my head, I was like, there's no way that my scale at home is broke because I've been using it quite frequently. I was doing weekly weigh-ins for you guys. And then I was like putting 2 and 2 together one day, and I was like, you know what? Like, I feel like I'm gaining weight. So there's like no way that my scale is accurate. So then I bought a new scale, and then that scale co-aligned with the scale that I actually use at the doctor's office.
Remember, her scale broke because she had set it on the corner of her kitchen counter and knocked it off.
My scale is broke. I did drop it a few months ago. I didn't think anything of it. I was sweeping the floor. I had it on the corner of the sink. It fell. I genuinely thought it still worked, but switching the batteries out only made it more like Hecticana. I don't know. I'm really upset.
Why? Why was it there? But she just happened to get a 700-pound scale.
So I'm pretty sure it's the same brand as the scale I have now. It does look a little bit different though. I think the other one only weighs up to 550, the one that I have now actually. So what I like about the scale is it is wide. So then when I went to go buy a new scale, that one didn't pop up on my Amazon. So I just got one that was very similar to it. These are 2 scales that I've had before.
Anytime Amber has any kind of wild explanation for something happening, for example, my scale was sitting on my kitchen counter and I knocked it off and it broke. And then I just happened to get a 700-pound scale because Amazon showed it. Like, none of that makes any sense at all. So you know, part or all of that is a lie. And it's likely she's just hiding her true weight by coming up with all this malarkey, you know.
Show proof the DoorDasher story is real, you hog. I'm trying to think of how I can show proof without doxing his name, because obviously I don't want to do that. I actually do have a way. I have a screenshot of the notifications coming in that I actually took on my phone, and you can see my wallpaper. My wallpaper is Twinkie, which I'll show you here. And you can see behind the notifications is Twinkie.
That's pretty good, guys. And here's the thing. I absolutely think there is something fishy about this story, okay? I am with you 100% that something is weird about this story. And I know Amber is a liar 100%. So I don't want anybody to think that I am sitting out here saying I believe Amber in this story. I don't. But as far as the messages themselves, this would be very difficult for Amber to fake. So I don't know. I don't know. And at this point, nobody has been able to find any originals for those messages, for those exact messages. And I even tried using ChatGPT to come up with some kind of message with the dasher and things like that. And I used a lot of different prompts. And while I couldn't get very close to her screenshots, this one is one of the early ones that I was messing with, and I thought it was kind of funny. Just some of the wording in this one just cracked me up when it says, "Did you know that the food isn't the only thing that's hot?" I liked that. But anyway, I couldn't really replicate it though. One thing that I do think is a little strange, well, actually two things. First of all, why is the notification center text blurred? That's weird. Why would she have thought to take a screenshot of her lock screen with the notifications down? Clearly she intended to show this, right? If she took this picture or took this screenshot right after it happened, obviously this is 2 minutes after the last message, she had to have pulled that down and taken the screenshot intentionally, knowing or just thinking, I'm going to show this at some point. This seems too deliberate, right? Too intentional. Almost like she's setting the whole thing up just so that she can show this to prove a story she's telling. So while I am starting to lean towards the messages being real, and I think they are being sent to her because this would be very difficult to fake, but I don't know. I'm a little bit stumped with this one because I know there's a lie in there. I just can't figure out how to prove it, you know? And I think it'll be interesting when somebody finally kind of cracks the code and we figure out what is going on.
So that's genuinely the only proof that I can show. And obviously in the screenshot, I am crossing out his name because I don't want to dox. Why don't you see a dietitian regularly? I actually thought about it. Last time I saw a dietitian was in 2023. And it's like, I know all the knowledge, but I think having that type of support would be nice.
Even if she went every single day to the dietitian, there would be no positive outcome. She would not listen. She would not do anything they tell her to do. She knows better than everybody. Like she said, she knows the knowledge. So even if she went to a dietitian, she would just do whatever she wants anyway. She has no intention of letting anybody else tell her what to do. And she doesn't want to anyway, because that would mean giving up her yum-yums, you know?
How do you really feel about the disconnect and lack of trust between you and your viewers? So I feel like there's a section of people who don't trust me and there's a section of people who do trust me. And I feel like in the section of people that don't trust me, there's a section of people that choose not to, and a section of people who genuinely have a reason. Because I feel like the section of people who like choose not to trust me, that's the trolls, it's the haters, it's the people who genuinely just live to see me fail. And they live to catch me in lies or expose me or start rumors. Like, I'm not even going to include them into this answer.
You know, it's funny, if you didn't lie so much, we wouldn't have so much material in which to catch you lying. And I love how she says, there are people that don't believe me and they have good reason. And I also love how she says, and there are people that don't trust me and they have reason. Yeah, everybody has reason not to trust you because you are a pathological liar. And the people that do trust you, you have sort of hoodwinked into trusting you. And they just don't know it yet. They don't understand, I would hope, or they're delusional, or they are sort of brainwashed at this point and gaslit. So nobody should trust Amber, period. That's why even with all of the evidence that she has shown for those messages, anybody else, I would have just said, it looks real to me, and that's it. But even given the fact that we can't find the originals and this looks pretty good and there's all this evidence pointing towards it being real, I just can't get there. You know, no matter what, I'm just like, something is weird about this because I know her. I have watched her so long that I know that she is a liar. She is a pathological liar. So while she may not be lying about everything when it comes to those messages, something is a lie because we've seen this before. So yeah, of course she's going to just dismiss the people that are spending this time finding her lies. And the only reason we look for her lies is because we know they're there. The problem with Amber is that she lies so much that if you were just to catch one of our videos for the first time and you didn't know who she was, it sounds like we're just nitpicking, because her being a pathological liar is sort of a death by a thousand cuts situation. Because she's done it for so long, we can pick it out. We see it and we know when she's lying, which is basically all the time. But for somebody new, they may not realize that. So they hear me going, oh yeah, I don't believe that. But they don't know the 1,000 times she's said this exact same thing and been lying about it before, that kind of thing. In fact, Salty Crab did a video where it showed Amberlynn lying about her lymphedema several times over and over and over again, and with proof how she would go back and forth on she diagnosed herself and they diagnosed her and all these different things and medically inaccurate things that she was saying about it and all that stuff. So it was clear that she was lying. And in that video, she actually said, if you ever wonder why we call her a liar so much, this is why.
I've just shown you in these 2 videos 3 pretty major lies that she told about her health. And if you're new around here, you would probably watch one of our videos, you know, a reaction channel video where Amberlynn is explaining something that happened to her, talking about a health issue she has. And you might hear us, you know, say, I think she's lying. I don't believe her. And I'm sure you'd think to yourself, oh, why are they calling her a liar? Who would lie about their health? Well, like you've just seen, Amberlynn will.
She lies about her diagnoses constantly, plus everything else, basically.
But the disconnect that I have between the people who don't trust me but want to, it makes me sad. And I wish there was a way that I could like prove myself to them, but I know that I can't, because no matter what I say or do, sometimes it's just not enough.
No, it's because you're a liar. There's no way to prove yourself other than just tell the truth. If Amberlynn all of a sudden in this moment started telling the truth from now on and was completely honest about everything she says, and I don't mean necessarily that she has to share every part of her life or anything, but just what she chooses to share, she was honest about, reaction channels would get pretty bored because we would stop being able to find stuff. We would speculate at first. After a while, we would start going like, there's really not much to talk about with her anymore. But she can't. She can't help herself because she's pathological. She's narcissistic. So she's always going to lie to make herself look better, even if it's something stupid, you know? Like lying about being hit on by random strangers constantly.
Hoping with time, and I'm hoping with my word, and I'm hoping with like showing the side of me that is true and real and honest, that they'll finally see that.
Notice how she's saying, like, going forward, I hope showing the side of me that's true, like, because she hasn't been. And the good news is for us that she can't, so.
Why were you sleeping in a crib and drinking from a bottle at 4 years old? Also, were you nonverbal? No, I was not nonverbal, but as for drinking from a bottle and sleeping in a crib at 4, I have no idea.
I didn't even mention that in the last one, and I didn't even think about the fact that there are still a lot of people that don't know how often Amber talks about how horrible her mom was as a mother at that age, you know? So to me, when I heard her say, you know, all the tooth rot stuff and the fact that she was drinking from a bottle at 4 years old and in the crib, like, yeah, I'm not surprised because her mom was a druggie who didn't pay attention to her kid. That's like the whole shtick about her mom, right? That's the whole story that Amber has given all along. So it wasn't a surprise to me. So anybody out there who thought that I was like heartless or didn't care that this poor child didn't have proper dental attention or whatever, like, I absolutely agree. That's sad. And that sucks for little Amberlynn, but it wasn't surprising because she has told us that her mom was a monster when she was young, you know? And I like that they asked, were you nonverbal? Because that brings up a good point. Why wouldn't Amberlynn just say, my teeth hurt or something, you know? Not that it necessarily would have done anything or made any difference, but still. Seems like she could have brought it to somebody's attention rather than stuffing hair in her teeth.
Do you seriously not hear the seal arf arf in your intro, or is it intentional? That's an instrument, but I definitely understand where you guys are coming from. I definitely hear it as well, but it is an instrument. I really like the song because, like, with the beat, each clip changes, and I love that. So as fun as that.
You know, you could do that with literally any song on earth. Why is that song special that you can change? Because you know that the clips aren't from that song, right? Like, whoever made that for you took those clips and then put the song in separately. Like, how does that have anything to do with the song? Wow, okay. I'm putting way too much thought into something that clearly had no thought put into it by her. But I don't like the song. I think it's weird. It's definitely not an intro song, but what do I know?
It was, we are going to move on to the interview.
Hey girl, hey, just coming off a work shift. Sorry if there's noise in the background. Would you ever visit Canada? And
no. Are you kidding? She won't visit Tulsa. You know, she's in Oklahoma City. She wouldn't visit anywhere. She's not going anywhere. Why would you think she would visit anywhere? She has had all this time. She's always talked about visiting so many places, and she doesn't leave her apartment. So no, of course not.
What do you think of like goth style, like goth girls? Also, would you like get any tattoos?
So 1, would I ever visit Canada? Yes. 2, what do I think of goth girls?
I like that. Yes. Moving on. Shut up. No, you wouldn't. You will never visit anywhere. And I have to wonder, is it that she's afraid to travel? Because people travel at her size all the time. Glitter and Lasers travels constantly everywhere. Foodie Beauty is back and forth, you know, running from the law. So she can clearly hop on a plane when she needs to. So it has to just be that she's just lazy. She can say all day long she wants to visit all these places, but she's just too lazy.
I love the aesthetic. 3, would I ever get any tattoos? Yes, I really do want to get some tattoos. I have some tattoo ideas, but I'm just scared. I have a really high pain intolerance, but something about like the constant pain of a tattoo, I don't know.
Did she say pain intolerance?
I have a really high pain intolerance, but something about like the constant pain of a tattoo, I don't know why, but it just like gives me the skeevies.
I don't think she meant to say intolerance. I think she meant to say I have a high pain tolerance. And of course, she is scared to get tattoos, you guys. She's so scared. Because she's been talking about wanting to get a tattoo since the Beck era.
I get a question a lot. It is, what is on your bucket list? And honestly, I've never honestly sat down and thoroughly thought about that. So I dedicated a whole page to my bucket list. Number 3 is get a tattoo. I love tattoos.
I mean, time's running out.
Hi, baby. So,
Oh my God.
my name is Isaac. I've been watching you for so many years at this point.
Wow.
I feel like I know you more than my closest friends. Like,
Aww.
So my question is, sorry, I projected a little gummy, if you will. And
Okay, pop
so
off.
my question is, what do you think makes you stand out? Like, why people are so obsessed with you? Like the compilation videos, the reaction videos, the constant obsession. I just wonder what you think about it, how you feel.
So here's what I think. I think it started because she was a weight loss channel who gained 250, 300 pounds. And that was already fascinating enough just to watch this weird train wreck happen. But I think most of the what they call obsession is really just fascination, because this person lies in real time constantly, where she can be called out over and over and over. She's kind of the gift that keeps on giving, because we can catch her in lies over and over and over again. And it's like a little game, you know, who can find the lie first. But there really is something, even as boring as she is, there's something about people who are just overly smug and narcissistic and so self-absorbed while having no reason or no like right to be, that we just are drawn to. You know, it's not necessarily that it's Amberlynn, it's just the type of person she is just fascinating to most of us. That she lacks self-awareness to such a degree that she will never take accountability for anything. In fact, when she says she's taking accountability, it is not it's not what's happening. She doesn't know what that word means. So it is a combination of lack of self-awareness, the narcissism, the lying, the absolute external locus of control. If you remember in my video where I covered that, it just explains that she doesn't think she has any control over anything that happens to her. Everything is somebody or something else's fault. So she'll never take any responsibility for anything. And then on top of all that, the little cherry on top is the fact that she plays the victim every second of every day. Anytime anything happens, she's the victim. And all of that stuff together creates this really weird amalgamation or chimera of unlikability, you know?
Bye, love you.
Bye, I love you too. Genuinely, I think like what it used to be for sure, especially like 2019 era, was just like the train wreck of it all. Like there is a 570-pound girl just like posting the most craziest things. I would do so many mukbangs. Like it was definitely trolling. Like 2018, trolling. 2019, trolling. And that was when I really started to like pick up on all the
See, by saying that it was trolling implies that she had some sort of intentionality. Like that she was being a train wreck on purpose. But that's not what was happening. She was not trolling. She just is a train wreck. And she was certainly back then. You know, and after the fact, she always says, oh, I was trolling. But you can always tell when she's intentionally trolling. But all of 2018 and 2019 was not her trolling. It was just her being herself.
traffic, the people watching me. And even when my life now is more just like calm and bland and peaceful, and I wouldn't say I'm a train wreck per se, like I'm literally just a normal girl. Yes, I might be super morbidly obese, but it's more common than you think. I'm just a girl who lives a normal life. I do have some unique things about me, sure, but I don't think that I'm special in any way. So I almost wonder if like what keeps up the obsession from people is it's almost like mob mentality, where everyone is kind of feeding off of each other, whether it be through like subreddits and forums and chats and like the reaction channel comments and just the reaction.
You know that those things all rely on content, right? Like, I mean, I guess the subreddits could survive for a little bit if you stopped being so narcissistic and such a liar and was just normal all of a sudden and forever. But the reason they are able to continue and to kind of gather the mob, if you will, is because we've got so much content to use and so much to call out. And like I said earlier, if you started actually being normal like you think you are, then the subreddits and the reaction channels and all of that would run out of things to talk about after a little while. So while you're not completely wrong as far as like the mob mentality, I mean, it's more like all of us gathering together to just watch the fascinating person act like a total train wreck. But you're providing the show, you know?
Channels in general, it's just like, it's keeping up this energy that is constantly being like spider webbed into new people and new audiences, people wanting to belong in a community, and they found one. And I don't know, it's definitely crazy. I feel like if all of that disappeared one day, I still would be able to make a living here on YouTube. Because
yeah, I like how she says that, because she has heard, and I think she understands that there is a symbiotic relationship here. The reason she has any relevance at all is because of the haters. Look at her videos. She gets 40, 50, 60,000 views on a video, which is fine. It's not nearly as much as she used to, but her like to dislike has always been heavily on the dislike, which is not normal. That is not a common thing for most creators, especially ones that have such a large like subscriber base and that kind of thing. So if the reaction channels disappeared, it would be because she stopped lying and stopped being a narcissist, because that's what's interesting about her.
I do have a lot of like supportive people who like aren't quote unquote obsessed with me. They just like watching my videos, and I'm just very grateful for anyone who clicks on my content and watches me.
Hello, thank you for accepting my request.
Of course.
I wanted to ask, why do you think your weight loss has been so unsuccessful? I know people have different measures of success, but if you view it from an objective standpoint, you've been on your weight loss journey for over 10 years, and all you've really done is good. I'm
gonna pause it real quick. I've been on my weight loss journey publicly for over 10 years, but my first diet was when I was 10, and I'm currently 34. So I've been trying to lose weight.
And I love how the lady said, I know there are different measures of success, And I mean, I guess kinda. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You either lose weight or you don't. But I guess when you're on your journey, there are like non-scale victories and stuff. And I get that. Like when you go through a drive-through with somebody and they order something and you usually do and you decide not to, that's a victory. You know, you can take that. But generally speaking, there's one measure of success, and that is losing weight. But by any measure, Amberlynn has been a complete failure
for over 2 decades, for 24 years. So it's just publicly, I have shown it for the last 10.
That makes it even worse that she's been doing it for over 20 years. And not only has she not succeeded, she has utterly failed. She has gone backwards.
In the 300s to the 500s.
My first diet ever, I was 10 years old. I was in the 200s somewhere, and here I am all the way up in the 500s, and my highest known weight was 572.4. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And I think it's hard for others and myself to rationalize.
Despectful moments or apathetic facts, I can't remember, but somebody apparently at one point found a clip where she said that she was 590 something, but we all know she was over 572.4. She stopped weighing herself on purpose.
This because
it is hard for people to
and I think it's hard for others and myself to rationalize this because
it is hard for people to rationalize. And I love the show 600 Pound Life because it shows that people who reach this size, because I get it, there's like levels to these things, like overweight, then it's just like, okay, you're morbidly obese, then it's like, okay, you're super morbidly obese, and then it's just like, there are a few classes to it, and I've reached the point where it's like, I am at the highest, and I'm fully aware that, like, my BMI used to be in the hundreds, my BMI now is 94, and that's still really bad. So
that is incredibly bad, but I don't like this idea that like there is this size and then this size. What it does is it makes people think that there's going to be some sort of indicator that they've eaten too much, you know, that they're going to be told, or there's going to be something in their brain saying, okay, you're about to get to the next level, you better stop. But that's not the case. You know, a lot of people, they eat and eat and eat whatever they want, and they just assume they're going to stay the same size. Well, slowly but surely they start needing to get bigger pants, and it just keeps going. And the next thing you know, you're this size. You know, while there were phases in between, it was so gradual, you don't even realize it. You are not going to be notified. Your body's not going to tell you that you're about to be a bigger size or that you're about to become morbidly obese or anything like that. You will just slowly get there, and you won't even realize it until one day you wake up and you can't tie your shoes or you can't do anything.
But for one's BMI to get that high and for one's weight to get that high, you have to go through a lot of trauma in your life. Trigger warning, whether that be emotionally, physically, sexually, you have to go through a lot. And I have gone through every single one of those things. Like, I was in foster care. Like, you're not in foster care just because. And even in foster care, I went through a lot. So it's me not healing all those things at the time. And then even as an adult, like, finding it so hard to like speak about the hard things and wanting to heal and figuring out why I am the way I am. It's just like this constant vicious cycle.
So when I talked to the therapist in the interview, she did say that most people that get Amberlynn's size have some sort of trauma in their life. Now, trauma can look different for everybody, you know, and if it were anybody else claiming a lot of these things have happened, I would just believe them, because who would lie about something like that? But Amber has lied about very serious things before, for attention and for sympathy. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I think she's lying about everything when it comes to her childhood. Obviously, she was taken from her mom. Her mom has told the story of her teeth and all that stuff. So I am on board believing that she had a crappy childhood, okay? That, I believe, is where the trauma came from, and I believe it. I believe her childhood was very terrible. I think she exaggerates part of it, and I think there are parts of it that she uses for sympathy. And again, I don't just say that because I don't like Amber. I say it because she has a history of lying about serious things for attention and for sympathy. And she also lies when she can use something as an excuse. right? When she can sit here and say, it's not my fault that I'm this big, it's because of XYZ. And then, just like that external locus of control, it's not my fault. Something else caused this. And while she can give lip service to the idea that it's her responsibility to get out of it, she's never gonna, because it wasn't her fault. You know, she can get sympathy and use it as an excuse rather than use it as motivation to change or to do something different. She'll never do anything different because she always has the excuses, whether they're true or not.
You've had multiple health scares / struggles throughout that time, which would motivate a lot of us to take the weight loss really seriously. You know, from being unable to do normal activities like traveling and walking to literally having cancer. Like the worst, one of the worst things imaginable, really.
Yeah.
So surely with all of these things, you would be eager to improve and, you know, lose the weight so you can enjoy your life. And
that's how I know it is a mental thing and it's not like a choice at all. And I know a lot of people.
See, it's that external locus of control again. That's how I know it's a mental thing, because I just don't do it. It's not my fault. I just don't do it. There's something in me keeping me from doing it. Now, she claims she's on Zoloft now, and that's a good start, I guess. But clearly, she's been on Zoloft before. That wasn't enough. That wasn't the magic bullet that she's looking for. And that's the problem, is that she's looking for the easy way, because she can't handle doing anything that requires any effort, period. Even if it's talking to somebody in therapy, that takes the smallest amount of effort just to turn on the computer and talk to somebody on Zoom. That's just too much, you guys. I got Legos to put together.
They look at bigger people and they think that we're choosing this life. I'm telling you, 95% of us are not choosing this. It is so mentally exhausting to be an addict of food and to have turned to food since you were just a little child. I have a whole family of addicts, and I'm not the only food addict. Like my grandma, she has passed away. She was over 600 pounds. And it definitely is not only environmental, but it's mental. And it's also genetics and hereditary and all of that stuff. So it's a mixture of like so many things.
be healthy.
Notice she never said anything about herself there, you know, because regardless of how she got there, it's her responsibility to figure out some way to get out of it. There are people that can help her, and she refuses to stick with it long enough for it to help. And part of it is because she thinks she knows better than everybody. She admits that constantly. Like, I know what to do, I just don't do it. So when she goes to a therapist, she just thinks, well, I already know all this. They're not going to tell me anything I don't already know. So she does it for 1 or 2 sessions and then bolts because A, she's the smartest person in the room, and B, she's lazy. She doesn't want to put any effort into it.
But every diet is unsuccessful and you end up making excuses for yourself.
I don't always make excuses. I have, yes, but I have a lot of reasons for the way that I am. And I recently, like even publicly, I was like, can you guys help me like figure out like what is the difference between excuses and reasons? Thankfully, I now have a clear picture of that. But yeah, I have made some excuses in the past and I'm not perfect, so I probably still do to this day. But I do have a lot of reasons for the way that I am, and I am trying to work on that.
Okay, so here's the thing. It is fine to figure out how you got where you are, but once you figure that out, that part is done. Once you start using those things that got you here as a reason that you're stuck here, that's when you're making an excuse. When you sit here and say, it's genetics and I'm addicted to food and I have mental illnesses and trauma and all that stuff, like that explains how you got here. That's done. You've got that figured out. You need to figure out with somebody who can help you, some kind of professional, how to go forward. Because going forward, you're going to have to apply a different understanding and a different method and a different approach to get to where you want to be. Not just saying, this is why I'm here. This is what's causing me not to be able to move forward. That's making excuses.
Sorry if this is mean or if it's really long.
It's not mean at all.
I just didn't want to like sugarcoat it. But yeah, thank you for listening. Have a good day.
Oh, of course. I hope you have a good day too. And that was not mean. Like, that was like true constructive criticism. Like, I know a lot of people think.
And she doesn't listen to a single bit of it. She made an excuse for every single thing she said. And this is why she's never going to get anywhere, because she dismissed every single thing that person said, which was pretty good criticism, right? That person was polite and they laid it out for Amberlynn. And Amberlynn made an excuse and deflected every single thing that person said. Because Amber can't be wrong. The universe tells her constantly whatever she's doing is great.
I think that if I receive something like that, I think it's hate. I don't think that's hate at all. I think that's very valid. So thank you for feeling comfortable to share that with me.
Amber, my Hecticana comfort queen.
And so then she just moves on. Like, that was good. I think I handled that perfectly. Like, she's just so used to deflecting any kind of criticism that even the ones that she calls like good constructive criticism, she just makes excuses for and deflects.
Oh my gosh.
I fucking love you, girl. What is the crack? I have two little questions for you.
Okay.
One being, have you ever played an instrument? I'm so curious. You kind of seem like someone that would sing, but I don't know.
So regarding instrument, I am not the greatest at it. I played the flute in like elementary school. And regarding singing, I love to sing. Like, I am not good at it by any means. I was in chorus in 6th grade.
She said, by any means. Progress, you guys. She usually says, by no means.
Grade, which I loved so much, but I'm not the greatest at singing, but I'm telling you, I love it.
Curious if you've ever played any, or would you ever consider picking one up? I can see you with like a bass or singing.
I would love, oh, you know, honestly, my dream, electric guitar. Like, hello, how are you? Oh my God, that's my dream.
So buy one. I don't think she understands what my dream means. If you have a dream and you've got the means to do it, just do it. But again, it would take a little bit of work to learn it. It would take just the slightest amount of effort where she would have to actually put some thought into something, right? She could just plink around on it, you know, nothing stopping you there. But really, to actually learn anything, she'd have to either look some stuff up on YouTube or take lessons or something like that. And nah, I got DoorDashers to flirt with, guys.
Also, very different question. Maybe the complete opposite, but I was wondering if you had been following everything that's happening in Palestine right now. I'm kind of curious if you've been doing that. I love you. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Yeah, let's listen to Amberlynn Reed's take on the political landscape of Palestine. That's, you know what? I had never thought of that. That's a good idea. This is who would need to broker peace in the Middle East.
She actually sent me another one, but I'm going to respond to the first thing. Yes, I do follow it, but I try very, very hard not to talk about politics on my channel. I have in the past, like years and years ago. Sometimes I'll let something slip. Let's listen to your next one.
If you're not comfy with that second question, I would just want to ask, have you ever been to Ireland? And would you ever go? I think.
See, and this is why I am convinced that these people that are sending these messages, if they're not like Fiverr, you know, paid people, they just don't know who she is. They sit here and say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I'm such a fan, but they don't know who she is. The fact that this person can ask Amberlynn Reed, have you ever been to Ireland? Or would you ever go? What a stupid question. If you have watched Amberlynn for more than a week, you should know the answer to that question. Have you ever been? No. Wherever it is, no, she has not been there. If you're going to ask her, has she been somewhere other than the 3 or 4 places that she's lived? No, she has not been there. And would she go? No, she will never go.
Love it. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
No, I'm totally fine with that question. And would I ever go to Ireland? Sure. I mean, I've never been out of the country.
I love it. She says, I'm fine with that question. Her answer was, I don't talk about that. So, I mean, yeah, ask away. I'm not going to answer it, but yeah, ask away.
In general. So, I don't know.
Hello, Amber. This is Ease from Jordan in the Middle East. And yes, you have fans in the Middle East. My question is there an ex of yours that if asked you to patch things up and be back together, that you would say yes to? You don't have to give us the name of that ex, just answer.
Yeah, of course. Emily, she would get back with her because, I mean, that's the dream life right there, right? Just sit around and let her feed you. I mean, that sounds pretty good to her. And honestly, I think if Jade called her, because remember, Amberlynn had to be told to stop texting Jade, likely from Jade herself.
Then, like, almost daily, I would text her, like, I love you, I miss you, because I just felt like I needed her to know. And I needed her to know that I was sorry that I hurt her. I talked it over with a friend, and they said, I think it's time that you just, like, respect her and stop contacting her. And it's been really hard. This is gonna sound dumb to some people, but I am on day 5 of not contacting her.
But she was not leaving Jade alone. So I think if Feline called, Amber would pick up and would drop everything to be with her.
Answer with yes or no and give us all of the suspense in the world. You're not a failure. Your haters might say it to you or express it over and over again. You're not. You have a YouTube channel that has over 250,000 subscribers, and that is not easy because I've tried to do it myself.
There is one aspect of Amberlynn's life where you could sort of consider her a success, but it's not for the reason she thinks, right? So even in her success, she's a failure because the reason she makes as much money as she does is because she's a lol cow, right? She thinks she is just this lovable vlogger that everybody just loves to know what's going on in her life. But the reason she gets so much attention is because she's such a narcissist and a train wreck. So while, yeah, she makes enough money on YouTube to survive, it's for the wrong reasons. So even in that, she's a failure. And that is the only thing in her entire life that you could consider anything close to a success. So when he says you're not a failure, I beg to differ. Every single thing she has ever tried, except YouTube, she has failed at. And YouTube is only a success because she's such a shithead.
Run a YouTube channel for 7 years. And guess what? I've only 113 subscribers. So I gave up. So this achievement is great. It's huge. You might be thinking, okay, what about my weight? You're still trying. Even if you've tried a gazillion times and failed, as long as you feel like you're trying, then you haven't failed. Again, too much love to you.
So obviously that was AI, and I am convinced she sent that one to herself. That was very specific to whatever she felt like she needed to hear at this moment, you know? Like, yeah, you're trying, girl. We know you're trying to lose weight. Okay.
Appreciate that. Like, that was honestly really sweet, and I needed to hear it. As for the X thing, I'm not gonna say yes or no.
Hey Amber, hope you're doing good.
She was setting herself up to do that. You know, the good news is there's not somebody out there that would be disappointed by that answer because she sent it herself.
I'm a little shy, so sorry.
Don't be.
My question would be, have you ever considered getting a food scale when counting your calories? Because I've lost over 80 pounds.
Again, where has this person been? She has done this 1,000 times. She's measured and weighed her food over and over and over again. In fact, when she starts it, we're all like, oh, again, does she really think she's going to be able to do it long term this time? Of course not. So, yet again, a person who has no idea who Amberlynn Reed is.
Because I've lost over 80 pounds.
I do have one.
Now.
Congrats on your freaking weight loss. Hell yeah. I was gonna say fucking weight loss, and then I stopped myself, but congrats on your fucking weight loss. I had to have emphasis in there because 80 pounds is amazing.
It's been a process, but in the beginning when I was counting my calories, I was greatly underestimating how much I was actually eating.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have the proper measurements for it.
Yeah, you can tell her a bazillion times how useful food scales will be or whatever. She just won't do it. She'll do it once or twice and she'll quit. I wish some of these people would at least try a reaction channel once before sending a question in, because they might learn something.
And a serving size, I thought, like in my head, I was eating the serving size, but I was actually overeating. Yeah. And so once I started weighing my food on my food scale, I noticed a significant difference, and I'm actually able to stay under my calories.
And random fact, she still has a little more to go, but I just pause it for a second. Random fact, measuring your food is not as reliable. Like something on the back of a nutrition label, it can say like half a serving, like half a cup is a serving. But when you go to weigh it out, if it says 28 grams, it's like, it doesn't match. So what's more reliable is definitely weighing your food. I definitely agree with this 100%.
So I lost 100 pounds, and I never weighed anything. I just pretty much estimated most things. The big thing for me was cutting out soda, but really my main thing was just finding foods that were lower calorie, right? Like as I would go through my day, I would look at different options and I would find the lowest calorie thing that sounded good. And I started eating that pretty regularly. In fact, I found a sandwich at Quick Trip that I fell in love with. And it was only 300 calories. And I basically still, to this day, eat that most days. Like I like it. And sometimes I'll switch some stuff that's on it, some different veggies, and, I'll swap things out every once in a while. But the trick is to find foods that you enjoy that are lower calorie, because if you just eat low calorie, just to eat low calorie, and you don't like the foods, you're not going to stick with it. You've got to have foods that you enjoy at least sometimes. And there are a lot of foods that are lower calorie that are still good. So that was what worked for me. Obviously, I can't speak for everybody, but I never weighed anything.
Actually, it's more if you weigh it. So.
Oh my God, I literally just said that.
Hope you have a great day. Say hi to Twinkie.
Of course,
Say
of
bye.
course. Bye.
Hey, oh my God, I'm so excited to send this to you. Sorry I sound like that. I'm not feeling very well.
Oh, I hope you feel better.
I've been following you and watching you for years. Like, it's been, I want to say, at least 6 years. And I've always, defended you in the comments. I've always thought the hate you get is so ridiculous. Because no matter what, I don't care about being, attacked, for lack of a better word.
I just don't understand how you can watch Amberlynn for 6 years and not realize what a liar she is, how narcissistic she is, how smug she is. I just don't get it. Because I am convinced that if I had discovered Amberlynn before reaction channels, if I had never discovered reaction channels, a few videos in, I would realize, this girl's full of shit. She has no idea what she's talking about. She thinks she's smarter than everybody and all that stuff. And I would have pretty quickly caught on. I don't know, man. I have to assume that the people that can watch her that long and not see anything wrong with her are just as bad as she is. Because they are probably just as unself-aware as she is. That they're probably horrible too.
I always argue back with them because I feel like these people are so stupid. What are you even, I don't know.
I bet when you stick up for me too, they're like, hi, Amber, I know it's you. And by the way, thank you so much for sticking.
And the reason she knows that's how we respond is because she has been doing that. She is in comments on sock accounts and she gets those responses. So that's how she knows people respond by saying, hey, Amber.
Who is dedicating so much time of their lives to hating on you and making videos about you. I feel like you cannot be a bigger loser. That is so embarrassing in my opinion.
It is weird.
I know you are, but what am I?
I will say.
But yeah, so I just...
Yeah, I don't care. I'm weird, man. Guilty.
I wanted to say that before I ask my question. So my question is, I am a personal trainer, so that's the question that came to my mind. Would you ever consider getting a personal trainer? I feel like it would be so helpful for you. I saw in your recent video...
You've watched her for 6 years, and you really think that there is a modicum of possibility that even if she did get a personal trainer, that she would stick with it for more than 1 or 2 sessions? Have you actually watched her for 6 years, or have you just sort of seen her thumbnails for 6 years? Because how do you not know how this works at this point?
That you got a Fitbit and you're going to be tracking your steps, so that's so exciting. I'm really excited for you and I hope that works out for you. But yeah, would you ever get a personal trainer, even if it was online, someone trying to help you?
So thank you for the question, and this was an older one. This is from when I did get the Fitbit, but the Fitbit came destroyed. The box was destroyed, the Fitbit was not working, it was broke. So I never got a new one, which I probably should, because keeping track of your steps, it can be extremely motivating to do more steps.
First of all, didn't she have an Apple Watch for a long time? Whatever happened to that? And also, your phone can do that. Your phone just keeps track of your steps all the time. Yeah, on the iPhone, you just go to Settings, Privacy, Motion and Fitness, and toggle on fitness tracking. And not only will it do pedometer, but it will do all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure it's not 100% accurate, but it's better than spending money on a Fitbit, especially how many steps is she really going to get in that it needs to be super accurate? I think it can count up to like 25.
And you can get very creative with it. And I just know that from past experiences. But would I get a personal trainer? That is not something that I am currently interested in, no.
Hi, Amberlynn. My name is Bug.
You know what? That may be the first honest thing she's said this entire video. That, no, I don't have any interest in that. No, thank you.
Like the ladybug. I'm from Melbourne, Australia, and I've been watching you for such a long time, I think since like 2017 or 2018.
Wow.
You're literally the only YouTuber that I actually keep up with, and I've seen, I think, all of your videos.
Dang.
You're just so comfy. Your content is so comfy, so thank you.
Thank you.
I was just wondering.
If by comfy you mean like super childish, I mean, what is she talking about? You're so comfy. I guess the people that watch her and enjoy her style of vlogging have to have a similar IQ and similar sort of maturity level, would be my guess.
If there's anything at the moment that you really want to learn, or if there's any kind of hyperfixations that you have. I know that you were interested in psychology a while ago. And I think you said you went to school. I can't remember if it was criminology or like criminal justice or something. Like,
yes.
Is there anything that you think about and you're like, I'd really love to study that or learn more about that? Thank you.
She was never going to do school long enough to get anything out of it at all. She could go to school for crayon eating and she wouldn't last a day or two.
Considering my question.
Definitely psychology. It's always been psychology. And like to go like deeper, like I want to go in the mind of like a murderer, because like why? Like what are you thinking? Like what? I also want to learn more about borderline personality disorder, because that is what I have. And with awareness, like it genuinely changes your life.
Again, I just don't understand. She has all this time. So if she is claiming, I want to learn this, I want to do that, just fucking do it. What's stopping you? If you want to do these things, you have all the free time in the world. So just do it. Obviously, she doesn't want to do any of that stuff. She just likes talking about it.
And then when you actively work on that awareness, like it's life-changing. Anything to do with the mind. Like the mind is just so interesting to me.
I mean, even just the way she talks about it, she just sounds like such a dingus. The mind, a murderer, like what? Like you sound like a fourth grader talking about psychology.
Or also, I really like medical stuff. Like at the same time though, that gives me a little bit of anxiety.
Okay, hi Amberlynn. I need your opinion on situation.
I mean, she might as well say, I'm interested in being an astrophysicist or a neurosurgeon, because she knows she's never actually going to try to learn anything about that. You know, her entire life for the rest of her life is going to be doom scrolling, eating, Lego, that kind of thing. This is her life forever.
Situationships, like, how do we feel about them? I need your opinion on situationships. Like, how do we feel about them?
I have been in a few myself. For me, situationships are hard because my feelings grow. I am even loyal in a situationship. Like, I will not talk to anyone else. Like, you're it, and that is that. That could be a BPD thing. I don't know, but I'm a very loyal, committed person. And I'm also very jealous, and I worry. And I'm like, well, I'm committed, but what if they're not? Because in situationships, you're usually not in a loyal situationship.
So now it makes sense, putting in a situationship in the title. She's not going to talk about her relationship. It was just basically clickbait. Saying in a situationship, implying that she's in a situationship that she might talk about, but no. She's just talking about the idea of them in general. What an asshole.
Some are, but it just depends. For me, I think that they should happen because it's like just jumping into a relationship, like a true relationship, probably isn't the greatest idea for some people. It's like good to get to know someone, like start off as friends and then, you know, get into something more romantic, and that's where the situationship comes in. But if it's just a situationship and that's it, and there's no like end goal of like, okay, are we gonna get into a relationship or what? Then it's...
I don't think she knows what a situationship is. I think what she's thinking of is either friendship or like friends with benefits kind of thing. A situationship, the definition of it is that we don't know where this is going to go. So if you're going to sit down and say, are we going to be in a relationship or not? That makes it the situationship.
Just a situationship and that's it. And there's no like end goal of like, okay, are we going to get into a relationship or what? Then it's almost like pointless, but...
Yeah, that's what makes it a situationship, right? The pointlessness of it is what makes it a situationship. So saying, yeah, it's good to get into a situationship first and then go into a relationship, like, you're missing the point.
What works for you might not work for me, and everyone's different. I just know that I go into dating with a goal. That goal is to find my person, because that is what I love about love, is like
immediately, whether you know them or not, you know, I want to talk to them for 5 minutes and that's my person. I've decided.
Having your best friend and having your other half and having your person and someone that can rely on you and you can rely on them. And yeah, it's just like a best friend that you find extremely sexy. All right, you guys, now it is time for bad choices. Would you rather be with someone smart than someone gorgeous? Why can't we have both?
The point of the question isn't to say that people can only be gorgeous or smart. It's just saying, if you had to choose one, what would you choose?
In the event of a zombie apocalypse, would you sacrifice everyone here to save yourself? There are people that I would without a doubt save before I save myself. In a literal
bullshit. Absolute hands down bullshit. Now here's the thing. I think she thinks that, right? I do believe that she thinks that she would save other people before herself. But if it actually came to it, not a single chance in hell she would save anybody before herself. But obviously in a zombie apocalypse, she's going to be one of the first to go. You know, what is she going to do? Run from them? So realistically, she won't be able to save herself or anybody else for that matter. But like if there was a button she could push to save either herself or her entire family and everybody she loves, she would push the one to save herself, hands down.
Heartbeat. Do you think you would be an excellent teammate to have on The Amazing Race? No. Just due to the fact that I'm 500 pounds and we need to be moving very, very, very quickly. And I'm not a very, very quick mover. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
Got her. So yeah, when she describes the whole mob mentality thing and that's why everybody gives me so much hate and all that stuff, it just shows her lack of self-awareness and shows that she really thinks there's nothing wrong with her. You know, she will say, like, I know that I've lied in the past, and I know I've done some things in the past that I'm not proud of, but she never admits that there's anything going on now because she doesn't think there is, right? She has convinced herself that she's an amazing person now, even when lying through her teeth with most things she says. These Let's Talks are always a look into the psyche of Amberlynn, where she is actually getting some positive reinforcement. And it's always just kind of disappointing to see how many people are buying this nonsense and don't see past her facade. Now, I understand that some of them are fake, but I do think there are some that are actually calling in and giving her positive messages and stuff. I think she does have some fans. I don't think it's nearly as many as she thinks, but yeah, I don't know. These are always disappointing. Again, it's more of like a losing faith in humanity sort of thing, you know? Because if you can watch her for 6 years and still send her a message saying that you love her and how wonderful she is and how the haters suck and all that, like, what is wrong with you? What are you watching? Who are you watching? But anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.